Am I live? I think I'm live. Let me make sure real quick and then we'll do something productive. It's been a while since I streamed last. I think I haven't done this for like 3 days now, which sucks for consistency, but you know, what can you do? Okay, perfect. I'm live. Alright, so what am I doing today? Well, I guess we're gonna start with continuing to build this gocord application that I started building. I haven't touched this code since the last stream. I've just been too lazy with this. So let me open up the backend as well and then we'll see where I left off because I have no idea. Close this, open up the backend. There we go. And yeah. And this time I actually remember to turn on the database before I turn on the backend. So yeah, let's do that first. Okay, yeah, so this is what we were building. In the last stream we created this server create handler, and now we're gonna try and create all of these. So let's see. First of all, I obviously just need to run the database, uh, and the command is this. Wait, what the hell? I don't have the image. Oh wait, I think it's start, not run. Yeah, there we go. Okay, kind of a mishap over there, but anyway, now we wait for the database to start and then we run the backend and then the front end and then we try to build all of these things. I have no idea how I'm going to do this, but we're gonna figure it out. It can't be that hard, right? So let's try running the backend and yep, it's running. Perfect. So the database is running as well. Perfect. Now let's run this and let's see where we are right now. So again, in the last stream we created all of this server creation functionality. I should probably test that out one more time and then we can uh, see what comes next after that. Takes a minute to load. There we go, and this is the Electron application. Okay, so it's not connecting. Why is it not connecting? No errors here. Let me refresh. Okay, what? Is it supposed to fail? I'm pretty sure I left this in a working condition. What the hell? On port 8000, perfect. What's the problem? It is being forwarded correctly. Well, this is not what I expected when I started the stream, but yeah, this is not working. Why is it not working? Oh wait a second. It's probably because the token expired, right? Yeah, the token expired. Okay, so we do obviously need to handle this. If the connection doesn't work, then we are probably like logged out and we need to redirect to the login page. I'll build that later. For now, I guess I'll just log in with something, and there we go. And now it should be able to connect. There we go, perfect. So now it's actually working. And okay, it's unable to get the media for some reason. Oh, it's trying to get it on localhost 3000. That's the front end. We need to get it from the back end. So why is it doing that? Let me see. Uh, where does it actually get that? They should be in the front end code, right? So, by the way, I'm talking about these server icons. It's trying to get the images for these server icons, and it's failing because it's trying to get them from localhost 3000, which is where our front end is stored, not the back end. The files, the media files, are going to be in the back end, which is in localhost 3000. So we need to use the absolute path over here instead of the relative path. So to do that, where exactly am I rendering this? Okay, right here. Render server icon. This should be it. And yeah, this is it. Okay, so I guess I can wrap this in backticks and just do something like this. And also add the base URL here, which should exist somewhere. Yeah, there it is. Okay, and this is localhost 8000 slash this. Okay, that should be fine. Now refresh again and see if that's correct. And it is not correct. Let me see, what am I getting this time? Oh, it needs a slash. Okay, that's an easy fix. Just add a slash over here and then let's see. And there we go, we're actually getting it now. This one is still failing, probably because the image doesn't even exist. Yeah, it doesn't exist because there's 2 dots over here instead of 1. Yeah, there we go. But that's just the wrong path. We don't need to worry about that because like I just created that while we were testing. But yeah, that's the server stuff, and this is the messaging stuff. Nothing to worry about over here. We can create a new server. I guess we can call it, I don't even know, lonely groups. I don't know. Add some dumb description for the server icon over here, and I'll just use this, some weird thumbnail for my video. Create it, and there we go. Now there is no like, this is still incomplete. It's supposed to refresh and take you to the new server and whatever, so this is still incomplete, but the server did get created, and we can see that by just refreshing, and there it is. Now we just open it up, and it has no channels, so we need to set that up as well. And since it has no channels, it's not displaying anything here, so there's a lot of work to do on this app. Where do we get started? So yeah, I'm gonna start with all of these things, and so we need to build server joins. How do we build server joins? Well, we need to be able to invite other people to the server, and then they can join. So to do this, we first, I guess, we need to build the server invite function, and then we can invite another user. So to do this, let's create the invitation function first. Before that, I'm gonna go over here and check out the server page, and just make sure that it displays the channel list and everything. So to do that, we can take this out, and just do this, and then do this. Lots of conditionals here just to satisfy TypeScript, but it's fine. And there we go. So we have the server name and everything, and we have an invite friends function here, which we need to build still. So we're gonna do that now. How do you invite people? I guess you need to first of all open up some modal or something to make this work, right? Yeah, we're gonna do that. And how do we do that? We don't really need this stuff, or actually we do. I guess the functionality is going to come from this options parameter. We need to have at the very least the option name, and then some sort of a handler function that can like do all the operations related to this task or whatever. So how do we structure this? How do we build this? So we have all of these. I guess we just need to assign some sort of a handler to these now. Or we can assign a component to them. That would be best. We can assign some sort of a component to them. So I guess we can create a modal and then just use that. Yeah, I think we can just use that. I'm gonna try something out over here. Let's see. We're gonna turn all of these into objects with a bunch of names and a bunch of handlers. So let's see. The component can just be the, right now it can just be the create server modal. This is obviously the wrong one, but I just want to like test that this does work. And there we go. And then this is going to be an object, I guess. We're gonna give it the name, and if this gets clicked, then we want to render it. How do we render it? So I need to have some sort of a state over here, I guess. I guess we can create a new component for this. Server drop down option. I guess we can just call this. There we go. And this can have some, actually, do we even need a new component for this? Maybe I'm just rushing this. Do we even need a new component? Can't I just do it all in this one? I basically just need to like be able to create the, like, render the component, right? So, and to do that we're gonna need state. Can you actually have state in like these, inside of these objects like this? I wonder if you can, like, because usually when you see state in React, it's like this, right? You just have some like variables over here. You don't really have a whole object or something. So I wonder if we can do something like this and it's not gonna fail on me or something. Let's just call this open state. Let me just make sure that this is actually not completely, you know, bad or whatever. Oh, by the way, GPT-5 came out. I don't know if this is actually good or not. To be honest, it just feels like regular GPT. Can you use React state inside objects like this? And let's see what it says. Yeah, see, that's the problem. That is the problem, right? I guess this is a good way to do it as well, just creating a custom hook. But at this point I just want to like build the functionality and not like get bogged down by the details and stuff, so this is just too much work, right? We're gonna remove this. I'll just call this the invite state, set invite state, and just use state over here. There we go. Now to actually use this we need to set the so on click it should where is it? Yeah, I guess now we can use the open state over here, right? Because I'm declaring it up here, so I should be able to like use it down here, I think. Okay, there we go. And yeah, something like this basically, or actually like this. I don't know why we need to do it as const, but yeah, I don't think we actually need to add a constant over here. But yeah, I think that's all we need to do. So now we can just do op.openState number one, the second function, the second item in the list, which will be the actual function, and we can set this to true, and this is going to fail. Why is it going to fail? Oh, okay, because of that. So the code is correct, it's just the type error. Because lists, I guess, don't really have order in them, so that's a bit of a problem. What we can do instead of this is just use an object, because objects have unique keys, so it's not gonna, you know, give us any error like that. So we can have a get and set over here, and that should be all we need. Remove this OpenState.set, and then we can add a function over here. There we go. And then we can actually just render the component, I guess, with some sort of a modal. I'll give it the OpenState, which will just be the options own state, I guess. Why is it giving me these? Okay, there. Never mind. This needs to be inside this for loop over here, and of course we can only render one component at a time, so wrap this inside a fragment like this, and then do op.openstate.get and op.openstate.set. There we go. Now we just need to add some sort of content inside here. I'll just create a heading that says invite friends. There we go. And yeah, and also probably a good practice to have over here is something like a button that can you know, just close the modal when we're done with this. So let's just give it a background of 400 gray and text white, and then I'll just call this call close or cancel, and I think that's it. So now we can render this and just, I guess, run this and see what we get. But actually we do need to add an on-click handler over here, and this will just set the open state to false, right? So all we need to do is do op.openstate.set to false. There we go. And this should only render when the open state is true, right? And there we go. Because like otherwise we don't want the modal to render. Or actually, do we? I don't think we actually need that, now that I think about it, because the modal already uses this open state to render itself conditionally. So I guess we don't need that probably, but let's see. We can refresh this and see what we get. Yeah, okay, perfect. And okay, nothing happened. Why did nothing happen? Let me just add that unique key so we don't get some dumb error from that. There we go. Why did this not get rendered? That's the real question. Yeah, it's not getting rendered. It is definitely being set to true here, that's for sure. We can even do something with like show it over here, kind of just like log the thing over here, and then let's see. Yeah, it's, oh, there we go. That's weird. So it didn't open before, but now it does. Huh? Wait a second, something weird is happening. Okay, I clicked it, but nothing happened. If I click on this options menu, then it happens. That's so weird. Oh wait, I got it. It's because these options only like get displayed when the menu is open. So Yeah, that's a problem. Oh, I guess we need to actually render these models outside of this open and conditional. So out of here to another server options.map. We'll have the option, we'll have the index, and then actually just render the model over here. You can give it a key as well, because why not? And yeah, there we go. Now it should be fine. Now you can refresh this again. There we go. So we have a model. Perfect. And now we can just design this better, I guess. Fix this. That's why the button looks so weird. Refresh that again, and there we go. Perfect. So we have a basic model opening up. Now we can actually build some functionality here that's going to invite users. So let me think about how we're going to do that. I guess we need to generate some sort of a unique link and connect that to the server object inside the database. That's probably the best approach for now. Water break. You know, completely off topic, but talking while coding is kind of hard. All right, let's build this. So we need to generate invitation links. To do that, we want to send the event to the server, which is the server invite event. So let's create this inside of servers over here. We'll create a server invite file, give it the package, create a function, handle server invite. It'll take the event that is sent by the client, which is the front end, and then it will take the connection, which is a pointer to the WebSocket client struct, and it will return nothing. So we have all of this. In the payload, I should probably have something like I guess the server ID. Yeah, this is a map. Okay, so the server ID, probably we need that. And obviously I'm not going to like build all of the intricate details that's actually in the Discord application. I know this project is supposed to be a clone, but obviously I'm not going to build everything. Stuff like temporary invites that only last for a couple of hours or a day or two or a week or a month or forever or whatever. We're not going to build all of that. We're just going to have links that I guess last permanently, right? So permanent links to a given server and anyone can join. This is going to be the server ID, and we'll use the OK idiom over here. If it's not okay, then we return an error with this helper method. Pass in the type, pass in the message, which will be invalid server ID. There we go, and we return, because we don't want to execute any more functions if we don't even have the server ID, right? And then once we have this, then we can actually just create the invite link. So what's the best way to do this? I guess we need to store this inside of the models, I guess. So what we can do here is create another model, and we can call it server invite.go, and we'll just call this server invite. This will be a struct. It'll have the base model, then it'll have a server, and yeah, which is going to be of type server, I guess, and then the actual invite link. So I guess this is going to be a code, right? Which means it's just going to be a random string. We call it invite code. I'll just call it code just for brevity, right? And this will just be a string. There we go. Now remind me how we actually create foreign key relationships. We need to do all of this stuff, I guess. So add the tag here, and we'll say this is a constraint. On update, we want to, so if a server gets updated, we want to, I guess cascade is fine over here. On delete, so the server gets deleted, then we need to delete this as well, because there's no need to have like a server invite to a server that doesn't even exist, right? And yeah, I think that's all we need to do here. And yeah, perfect. So we're gonna have this, and then we're also gonna have invites over here, invite links, I guess we can call them, or invite codes just to be more accurate. And this will be a list of server invites, and this will be a many to many, and the table name can just be server invites. There we go. Do we need to store these inside the server object? I don't think we do actually. Yeah, I don't think we actually need to store these. I'm just gonna remove that. I just like to have relationships between my models everywhere, just so it just makes it easier to work with them. But yeah, I don't think we actually need that, so I'm just gonna remove that. There we go. Okay. So we have the server ID here. Now all we need to do is create a server invite, which will be a random string of numbers and letters. So the thing with Go is it doesn't really have like a random string generator, so we need to actually build that functionality ourselves. Now the way to do that is to like have a list of alphanumeric characters that you want your invite links to like be formed out of, and then you just select random indexes from that list of alphanumeric characters, and then you just create a random string out of that. It's a lot more work, and I'm not gonna do that myself. So generating a random string in Go, because the thing is it doesn't have like its own like helper function that you can just use, call it once, and like get all the data you need, right? You need to actually build all of this yourself. So let's do that. Oh, by the way, we don't need to do rand.new because this is deprecated as far as I checked. So we're not going to do that, but we are going to do all of this other stuff. So let's see. Yeah, okay, let's do this. I guess we first need to have all of this, and then we just have a bunch of bytes equal to the length of the string. Then for every one of them we just assign the randomly selected character from this seeded rand dot int n function, and then just the car set. Okay, got it. And then we just return the string representation of this byte slice. That's all. So let's actually build this now. Where should I put this? Because I already have a web utils package, and I'm sure I'm going to need random stuff later as well. So I guess we'll just put it over here. So let's say func random string, and it'll take a length, which will be an integer, I guess, and we'll return a string. There we go. We'll have a character set like this. We'll create a byte slice using make, and we'll give it the length over here. Then we'll have range b, the loop over this entire byte slice, and at every index we're going to, should I use this or this? Yeah, okay, this. And then we just need to select random stuff from the car set string. So we use that over here with this index notation, I guess. Then we need to actually get the random package. It doesn't have the int and function. That's weird. Oh right, never mind. So we have the do we actually need this? I don't think we do. So why is it? Let me see. Let's just say C is ran.new. Yeah, see, it doesn't even have the new method anymore because it's just not even used anymore, right? Oh wait, I'm using crypto/ran. Why am I using that? I'm supposed to use math/ran. That makes no sense. Yeah, now it actually does have the intent function. That's so weird. Okay, so I guess crypto has a ran package as well. The more you know, eh? And then we just pass in the car set length, and this will just then select any number from 0 to the length of this whole character set, I guess. And then after selecting that random character, it will assign it over here, and then we can just return the string representation of this, and that should be all we need to do, right? Yeah, that's all we need to do. Perfect. Okay, now I can just call this over here, I guess. We can call it invite code webutils.random string. The length can be, I guess, 12. I don't really care, or 16, I guess, if you want to be really a bit more secure. That can be the invite code, and then we actually just need to create this. Well, first of all, we need to get the actual server, right? So let's try to do that. We'll just call it s. We'll do gorm.g, use the generics API that Gorm has, say models.server, pass in the database, which is gonna come from database.connect, like this, and then we just select all the columns where ID equals the server ID, and then select the first object. Pass in context.background. This will return a server or an error. We handle the error over here, and we can just return this, I guess. And up here we can just say, instead of invalid, we can say missing server ID, because that makes more sense. Now we have the server object. Now we have the server and the invite code. Okay, now we need to actually create the invitation object and store it in the database. So to do that, I'll just call it inv for invite. Again, use the gorm.g API. The model is server invite, pass in the database, create. And to do that, first we need to actually, this doesn't really, like, what does this return, right? It'll take us a context, which will just be context.background. I'll create this in a bit, but it just returns an error. Okay, so there's the error, like so. We handle the error over here again. C.error, ev.etype, fail to create server invite, and return. There we go. Now let's actually create this invite object, which will be in models.server invite. It'll have a server, which will be s. It'll have a code, which will be the invite code. There we go. I think that's all we need to do here. This needs to be a reference, not a value. And yeah, I think that's all we need to do. Now we can actually return some sort of a success message here. I'm gonna say c.reply and a reference to the reply object, which I'll create over here. This will be a webutils.ws event object. It'll have a type, which will just be the type that we got from the client. It'll have a payload, which I guess can be, it'll be a map, and it can have a code, which will be the invite code. There we go. And that's all we need to do here. Let me just quickly make sure that everything is correct over here. And I think it is. Yeah, perfect. So we have all of this. Now we can actually just is the stream going fine? Yeah, yes it is. Okay, perfect. By the way, what is this? Okay, never mind. Yeah, I think it's fine. Yeah, perfect. I mean, ultimately we won't know until we test this, right? So let's actually test this. Where do I go now? I guess we also have to actually connect this to the front end. So send the actual invites, send the actual event through the WebSocket. So first of all, let me also handle this because I haven't added the handler over here. So we'll say handle server invite, pass in the event, pass in the client, and that's all we need to do. Perfect. So the backend is complete. Now we need to build all of this. And to do that, yeah, see, we are going to have to divide this whole component into a bunch of subcomponents because look, it's called server name. It has no business handling all of these different options that we had over here. So I am going to have to divide this into a bunch of subcomponents very, very soon. But for now, I guess this is fine. Now we need to actually connect to the WebSocket. So we'll do const empty object equals use WebSocket. Again, our trusty little custom hook over here that can give us WebSocket functionality. We'll grab all of these functions and then we'll call a use effect over here. And the dependency array will be empty. And then let's see, we need to be able to subscribe to this. Handle invite. We'll get some payload, which will just be any, I guess. Then it will grab the what did I call it? The code, right? Yeah, over here. Grab the code, which will be the invite code, and I guess display it somewhere somehow. For now, I guess we can just console.log it just to make sure that we're getting it, and then it can return. Okay, so subscribe to the server create event. That's what it's called, right? So okay, no, never mind. Server invite. Subscribe to the server invite, and over here just pass in the invitation. There we go. And then return a destructor function that's going to unsubscribe from this event using this handler. There we go. That's all we need to do. So now I guess we can have const invite friends, or actually create invite link can be a function that will send an event which will have a type, which will be server invite, and a payload which expects, I guess, the server ID as such, which we do not have here, do we? I guess we need to pass that in as well. There we go. And this will be a number. By the way, completely off topic, but I like how all of the other languages have different like types for numbers depending on how much storage you want to assign to it, like int 8, int 32, int 64, stuff like that, float 32, float 64. Meanwhile, TypeScript is just, hey, it's just a number. Like, it doesn't even try to differentiate between integers and floating point numbers, let alone unsigned or signed integers, let alone integers of different sizes, right? It just says, yeah, it's a number, which is very simple. So anyway, we need to pass the server ID here, which will be the ID. Now we need to pass it over here. Where am I using this? I'm using it in the server page over here, and we're going to pass in the ID using server.id. There we go. Now we have that, and there we go. Perfect. So now we just need to call this function, right? And we can do that over here. So we can say something like, I guess we can create another button. Just give it the same classes with a different color, I guess. Create invitation link. And when you click this, it should just call the create invite link function, which will send the event to the backend using the WebSocket, and then the backend will create the invitation link and return that in the WebSocket reply, which will then be logged over here in the console. So if I did everything correctly, then this should work. We'll refresh the page just to reconnect the socket. There we go, it's connected. Now we run this and we click this, and yeah, okay, so that broke. There we go. Okay, find a valid foreign key for relations or implement the value scanner interface. Okay. So this field is broken for some reason. Why is it broken? Did I not define this correctly? Let me make sure that the table exists first of all. IT gocord, that's the container. Bash, that's what I want to run. There we go. Now we just open up the Postgres shell as the root user. And then we connect to the gocord database. Then select everything from the table server invites. Okay, that's not the name. That's also not the name. Does this not exist? I guess it never even got created, huh? Let me check the app. It should have been created. Like we run. Oh, never mind. So I actually do need to pass in this whole model over here. So every time you create a new model, you want to make sure that you add it to this auto migrate function, so that Gorm can, run migrations for you. So with that done, we should be able to do this, and yeah, so that failed. Why is it failing still? Let me ask Jibity. If this is fine or not. This is the error, and this is the object. Up to you to fix this, mate. Let's see. Oh, I always forget this. I keep forgetting this. You want to actually have a server ID over here as well. So let's say server ID, which will just be either an integer or an unsigned integer. I forget. Okay, it's supposed to be an unsigned integer. Got it. There we go. And we don't need to send this in any requests, so remove it from any JSON serialization. There we go. Yeah, so you always need to create this ID field like manually. So yeah, there we go. I'm not used to having to create this field manually, from the languages that I come from. Like ORMs can just infer these things on their own, so like languages like Python or Rust, I guess. But yeah, Go is just like really bare bones, really simple language. Syntax error at or near delete. Okay. I guess we can. I think instead of delete, this is supposed to be cascade, but I'm not a database expert. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to be cascade instead of delete, I guess. Yeah, see? It's supposed to be cascade. I probably meant cascade. Yeah, exactly. So if you use cascade, what happens is if the connected object, the related object gets deleted, then this object will get deleted as well, which is obviously what we want. So yeah, there we go. There's so much to learn for me, even in just databases. I want to like do a deep dive into Postgres and just explore it and see how that works under the hood. But yeah, I'll do that one of these days. But for now, this should work now. So run this again. I just want to make sure that the migrations are running, and then I can proceed to the next task. And there we go, it is running. We can check it over here as well, I guess. Okay, that still doesn't exist. Why doesn't it exist? What am I missing over here? Oh wait, I'm in the wrong database. Now it should, yeah, there we go. So now it does work, thank God. So now we can run the back end, and we can run the front end as well. Make sure it's connected, and there we go, we got it. We got the link. Perfect. I guess we can design this a bit better. Over here, I have really kept the design of this whole application so like simple and minimal, because I just want to build the functionality right now. Like fundamentally, once you've built all of the functionality, like improving the design is very simple, because like all the functionality is built. You can't break anything. You just have to like mess around with these tailwind classes and some HTML. Like there's very little possibility of breaking something or causing some sort of an error, right? So I just want to get the functionality out of the way, which is a lot of work already, and then improving the design is easy, so we don't need to worry about that. But for now, uh, what can we do over here just to like improve the design a little bit more? We can do something like flex column, I guess. Put this inside here and create like a field where the invite link will be. We'll call this a div, I guess. It'll have the similar classes, a border of gray 200 and a background of gray 100. Let's see. And the text can just be gray 600, I guess. And then inside over here we'll have a paragraph, which will be not even that, but the base URL of the backend slash invite slash the invitation code. So we can have this, and then we can have another state up here. Again, we will need to reorganize all of this into a different component, but right now I just want to get this done. So do this, there we go. And in here we can actually set the invite code to payload.code, and there we go, perfect. And then we just render it over here, and let's see what we get. We'll refresh the page, invitation, and I guess what would be nice is if I had a bit more space between all these elements. Like that would look a lot better probably. Let's do my8 and space y4. Like let's just do that. Yeah, doesn't that just look a lot better? So create invitation link, and there we go, perfect. Yeah, I think that's all. I do want to not have my buttons be so freaking big. So, and there we go, perfect. And of course you can improve this even further. You can add like a clipboard or copy icon over here, and then just like be able to copy this just from one click, and so on and so forth. But yeah, I think this is the basic functionality that we need. That's all we need to do. Now all we need to do is just copy this, paste it into your browser and whatever, and it should open up like this page where you can view the server and accept the invitation, right? So for that we need the server join I guess event handler, and that's gonna be in here. Close all of these. Now we need to handle this server join. So let's see, server join.go, and there we go. More water. And I'm out of order now. Handle server join. There we go. Again, it's just going to take the usual stuff. Web utils, the event, the client, and now we need to actually build this. How am I going to build this? So it's going to take the invitation link, obviously, which will be, I guess, link can be, and obviously the OK keyword as well. It'll be in the payload. It'll be called link. If it's not there, then we need to return an error. Missing invite link. There we go. And then we need to actually get the invitation code from this. So what we can do is, I think what we can do is just separate these. Let me see what this looks like. Like we can just split both of these strings on this invitation like part, right? What would that look like? So what I'm thinking is something like this. The code can be strings.split the link, and link is any, so I guess we need to cast it into a string, and it should separate on this invite keyword. And once it does that, the second part of the string should be the invitation code, I think. So something like this, and then fmt.println code, just to make sure that it is correct. And yeah, I think that's all we need to do. I just want to make sure that I can actually grab the server invitation code from this. So now we actually send this event, but first make sure we handle it over here. We'll call the server join handler over here, pass in the event and the client. There we go. And now we need to, in the front end, we need to build functionality to like join a different server. I think we can do that over here. So currently this is just like this button is just there to be able to create new servers. But what we actually, and why can't I open this again? What we actually want to be able to do is have like a button here that says or join an existing server, and if we click that, then it should just ask for an invite link and we should be able to join. There we go. Okay, so we built that over here. For now I'll just call this or join an existing server, and this can just be an A tag or even just a button, to be honest, just a button. And what it will do is what it should do is, or actually what it should look like is a simple underline, and I guess some better text as well. There we go. What does it look like? Yeah, that looks horrible. This probably looks a lot better. Yeah, perfect. So let's see. We should probably call this create join instead of just create, if we're going to have both functionalities here. And also obviously change the name of the component here. So there we go. And and we can have another state over here, I guess, which will be, let's call it is create and set is create. This will be true if the screen is on create, otherwise it will be false if the screen is on join. So let's see, and it should be true by default. Yeah, so if it's true, then we render all of this. Otherwise, we render the joining page. So for that, I guess we just need to have a form again and some text input. This will take a couple fields, invitation code, I guess. We'll just call it invite code, like just keep things short. It'll have a name, which will be code. It'll have an on change and a value. Okay, so these will need state. I'll call it server invite and set server invite. There we go. Pass that in here. And on change, we have the event. We want to set the server invite to e.target.value. There we go. Yeah, I think that's all we need to do. What am I missing here now? This is what I'm missing. And then remove this. Sweet. And does it need any more fields? I guess we can give it a placeholder. This can just be let's see, the base URL / invite / code, I guess. Okay. And when you click this button, it should actually change the isCreate state to whatever it isn't, right? So if we're trying to create a server, this button will take us to the joining screen, and if we're trying to join an existing server, this button will take us to the creating screen. And I guess we can change the text over here as well. So we can do isCreate. There we go. We can do something like this, and or create a new server. There we go. And now let's see what the hell I've just built. I hope this works. Okay, there we go. If I click this, then we get over here. Okay, sweet, perfect. Yeah, perfect. So this has a minimum width of 2XL, so I'll give the joining screen the same width. 2XL, there we go. It'll refresh, and there we go, perfect. So here we just place the actual invite code, and then we just I guess we need a join button as well. So px4.py2.roundedMD. I'll give it the sky blue color as usual, and we'll call it join. And on click, it should join the server. So we need to build this handler now, I guess. And we can change this handle submit to handle create, because we now have two like submittable options, right? Now we need to create, let's see, join server. It'll take an event which will be the same as the creation, which will be a button event. We can say e.prevent default, so it doesn't, you know, submit the form or try to submit the form. We don't need this console.log anymore. Then we'll just try to send, and it will do a server join event with some payload. What am I expecting in the payload here? I'm expecting an invite link, which is called link. Okay, perfect. So this will be link, which will be link invite link or server invite. There we go. Sweet. So that's that. Now we also want to subscribe to this event, I guess. Subscribe to the handle, oh no, the server join event, and ignore that. Subscribe to the handle server join event, and the handler can be handle join, I guess. And obviously both of these functions are still unfinished. For now, it will just do the same thing as the create handler, and it will just shut down the modal, close the modal, and that's it. I'll change this to handle create. Later on, we will have different functionalities here, like opening the server that we just created or joined, and so on and so forth. But for now, this is good enough. And obviously, we want to unsubscribe from this as well, over here in the destructor function, as such, and there we go. Perfect. Yeah, I think that's all. Now we should be able to just join an existing server. I completely forgot the invite link. Let me create a new invite link. Okay, never mind. I also want to have a close button over here, because right now I can't even close this modal. So let's create that as well. Down here, I'll just copy this, and there we go. I'll copy this flex container as well and place it over here. Close the div, format, there we go, perfect. Okay, now let's actually like create an invitation link, and then just copy this, close that, join an existing server. Okay, and there we go. So I sent the event, and okay, there we go. So this splitting up does work, and I get the invitation code. Perfect. Now what I need to do is actually get the server invite and the server object, which we can do by doing something like, actually let's get the database first, from database dot connect, then do invitation, and we'll do goom.g, pass in the server invite as the model, and then just say select all the columns where the ID, or not the ID, but the code is equal to this code. Then select the first one. There we go. And handle the error as well. We can say c.error type invalid invite link, return. There we go. So now we have the invitation, and we have the actual server right here. Now we want to add this user to that server, and the way to do that is to, let me see, how do you actually do that? I guess so what you do is you add this user to the server's members object, which I'll show you over here in the models. So we have a members list over here, and we just add the user over here, which, why am I not doing that over here? Yeah, so for some reason I'm not doing it over here. I'm just adding it to the users server object over here, where it's supposed to be a two-way thing, so that's not good. What I should be doing actually is doing both. So let's say db.model s, which is supposed to be the server, dot association members dot append c dot user, which will be a pointer, and that's all we need to do. Perfect. This can also be just a pointer. There we go. And if there's an error, then we log that as well. Adding member to server, let's just say that. So now we need to test both of these now. let's see. What I want to do is test the creation first, and then like make sure that it uh, first test the creation and then test the joining. So another group to test. There we go. Some descriptions created. I think it worked. Refresh the page. There's the server, and yeah, this is the one. Perfect. So creation works. Now I want to join an existing server. Uh, Here's the invite link. I'll press join and no error so far. So I guess this just didn't get saved yet. Okay, so and actually instead of duplicating all of this, I want to be able to just add the member directly, right? So what I want to be able to do is have like a server pointer receiver over here with the name of add member, and then just what it should do is just take all of this and like handle it all for me, right? So do all of this. Don't need to print this. The database will just be database.connect and declare this c.user. So we need to pass the actual user object, which will be a pointer to user as such. We can replace c.user with just u. And what we can do over here is say s.addMember u c.user. There we go. Now I want to make sure that this works one more time. Undefined error. Let me save this. Okay, everything seems to be fine over here. Okay, perfect. Now let me just test this one more time, just to make sure that it works. And we'll create another server. I'm sure you're bored of seeing the same image again and again. Test 31 or whatever test we're on right now. And okay, refresh the page. It did work. I know. Okay, never mind. It didn't work. Okay, it seriously didn't work. Okay, why did it not work? Let's see. Test 31 again. Create. Nothing happened. It should have worked. There's no errors in the logs. I guess it's just not being added then, right? Yeah. I think it's just not being added. I wonder why. Because like I'm not doing anything like I'm using pointers everywhere, so it should work perfectly, right? Do we need this actually anymore? Because this is already like a pointer. So I guess we probably don't need a pointer to a pointer, right? Maybe that's the error. Refresh again. Let's say test 31 again. This is like test 34 at this point, but okay, create. No errors. And I think that's the server. And yeah, there we go, perfect. Okay, so that works. Next we just need to handle the creation, which well, not the creation but the joining, which should be very similar. All we need to do is get the server and say add member, and the member will just be the client user. And once we do that and there's no errors or anything, then we can just do a reply, which will be a webutils.ws event. It'll have a type, which will be ev.type, so basically the same type that the client sends us. It'll have some payload, which will be as such. And I guess we don't really need a payload over here, because all we really need is like a success message, and then the client can just refresh the page and open up that server's page or whatever, right? So yeah, we don't really need to do anything special over here. I guess I guess I'll just return like a success true for now. And if we need something else, we can obviously add that as well. But for now, I think this is good enough. There we go. Then just do c.reply. The reply. There we go. What is this error over here that I'm getting? Okay, never mind. Okay. Alright. And this is a bit weird to test because I already am a part of these servers. But what we can do is with join. Never mind, I need to refresh the page. Actually, what we should do is be able to leave servers, and then we can actually like be able to join them back and see if that works. Refresh it again. I don't know why it doesn't open up the second time. Okay. Paste. Where's my invite link? There it is. Join. Sweet. That works. And no, it does not work. Oh, wait, never mind. It failed because I'm already a part of this server, right? Because I already joined this server. I'm already a part of this server, so it can't like re-add me, which is why we get this error. In-server update on table servers violates foreign key constraint. Server's owner. In-server update on server's owner violates key constraint. Let me see. Am I supposed to get this error? Adding server to user. Okay. Let's see. Why is it giving me an error for owner when all I'm actually doing is trying to add it to the many fields over here? Like the owner is completely untouched, right? I'm not even doing anything with the owner over here. So why is it like this? Right? Let's see. Paste in all of my code and see what it says. But I'm not doing anything with the owners, right? Like the server has already been created. I'm not doing anything with the owners at all, so this is weird. Do I actually need a pointer over here? I really don't think I do. Really don't think so. Because like, creation works, right? When I create a new server, it does work perfectly. So why doesn't it work over here? That's the conundrum. Let me log it. Let me log the actual server's owner. The username, I guess. Let me actually log this and see what we get. And there we go. Let's try refreshing and then joining again. Oh my god. Okay. Same error. And no owner. That is weird. Oh, never mind. Okay, it's because I'm not preloading the associations. So to do that, I guess what we need to do is over here, say preload dot, let me see, there we go. This is going to be called the, let me see, the server, right? Yeah, there we go. So because I'm not preloading this related object, it's just creating an empty object in its place, which is obviously not gonna work, but yeah. So now we need to just return nil, I guess, over here, because we don't need to like have any custom queries or whatever. This is getting a bit long, so what I'm gonna do is do this just to like format it a bit better. There we go. So now it should work perfectly. And there we go. It's running. Refresh the page. Paste in the invite link again. Sweet. Okay. So it still didn't print the server owner, but there's no errors, so I guess it does work now. Okay. I guess to print the server owner, I probably need to like preload the preload the owner object as well. That's just way too much work. What we can do to make sure that this is working is to just print the server, I guess, name. That's fine. And we can also probably print the owner ID because that's just an integer, so it should be able to load that. And there we go. If these values exist, then the server is being loaded properly and everything is working properly. So let's make sure of that. And need to refresh the page again. This is so much work. Paste in the invite link right here and join. There we go. Let's see. Okay, yeah. So we get the name of the server, we get the ID of the owner of the user, and yeah, perfect. And this isn't an error. This is not an error. This is just a warning that this is slow. It's slow because I'm running all of this on my local machine, and my local machine sucks. Obviously, if you run this on an actual server built to withstand these things, then this will not be slow. It's just slow because I have a slow computer. Anyway, all this works. I think I'm gonna end the stream at this point. We've been going for like more than an hour already. We built the invitation functionality, we built the joining functionality. Obviously, a lot of this stuff is still very like early stage and just not finished completely. There's so much more stuff to do to just make this whole system much more resilient, much more like to handle failure states more gracefully, and so on and so forth. To improve the UI, there's so much to do on the UI as well, on the front end side. There's a lot of work to do, so yeah, we're just gonna keep going at it one step at a time, and let's see where we get. I'm gonna end the stream at that point. There we go. So yeah, lots of coding done today, and we'll see what we do next time.